Okay, so in this video we're going to be discussing about the hopelessness that families feel when their children are taken away, and most people are honest people that are law-abiding, and they're told one thing by the government, and so they do that thing, and they find that the government is really lying to them, and they start getting depressed and feeling hopeless because it starts to dawn on them that no matter what they do, they're never going to see their kids again, and their kids are never going to be the same. Their kids are being conditioned to hate them and never want to go back, and they know that their children's lives are fucked, their lives are fucked, all their friends' lives are fucked. And
the potentials that they have is totally diminished. They don't know their own potential because no one is helping them grow. They're not giving them the same opportunities they would. Like with our family, we homeschooled, and our children are not getting the same potentials and not allowing their potential to come through, such as my daughter who wanted to be the graphic artist. And they've just totally, they made her so she couldn't work on a computer, banished the computer from her. And so she's put into a surrounding, an environment where there's so much negative energy, there's so much sadness and depression that there's no encouragement. Like you said, the foster guardians aren't parenting, they're just sardined.
Yeah, they're just paid cooks and cleaners,
and then there are homes where children are the cooks.
Yeah, well, we saw in the news there a month ago where this foster home, a camera crew went into the foster home, and it was the most disgusting place that you'd ever want to have a child live, and there's a lot more like that. It's not the exception to the rule, but it is there, and that's why children get taken away from other people's homes. Where maybe the parent is just a little bit exhausted and lets the housekeeping slip a little bit, and the next door neighbor doesn't think that's right, so they make a phone call. Like, I mean, everybody.
But the point here is, why is it important not to take children away for reasons such as a mildly dirty house or the laundry wasn't done? Is because we really have to start protecting the family unit, and why, thinking about why it's important to protect the family unit, what that means to our whole society when we've got, thousands of families breaking down all for one reason.
There's a lot of people who watch these videos and that we talk to that want to help, and their suggestions, although good-hearted, like, well, just be positive, or maybe they've seen the video The Secret, and so they go, oh, well, just don't hate them and just be positive, and everything will work out. But the reality is everything will not work out. Our children are being destroyed. No matter what we do, these people are like demonic entities from hell that are hell-bent to totally destroy and devastate you, because the more you get devastated, the less you can ever fight them back, much less organize. And this is what needs to get across, that people need to realize that it's not just one or two of us that are having to deal with just the sheer volume of depression that hits you, but it's happening to everyone. And that's why more people aren't speaking out, because they've been beaten down into submission.
Okay, well, in my case, for example, before my children were apprehended, I was going through a nasty separation from my ex-husband. His family was very against me. They wanted to keep the kids with them. I didn't want them to keep them. I wanted them, I wanted joint parenting, and I even signed a joint parenting agreement. So as my life was falling apart, all these court dates and seeing my children less and less, and my ex-mother-in-law and my ex-husband coming down on me really hard to make me feel terrible, I tried so hard to keep everything together, you know, but the day, and I was physically ill too, the day that I had surgery, you know, and my dad came in and said the kids have been apprehended, it was like the blood drained right out of my body, you know, and from there, how was I supposed to get well? You know, all I could think about was, oh God, you know, my life is totally destroyed, you know. I couldn't get up out of bed a lot of mornings. All I could do was cry. I still wake up from dreams already crying from just the anxiety and grief, because every morning I do wake up. It's true, isn't it? My first thought is always, how am I going to fix this? How am I going to fix this, you know? Because it's just got out of control. It's been 5 years since I've been with my kids, you know, and so, I mean, for my family...
The reality is you're not going to be able to fix it. Your kids will never be the same. Chances are you will never get your kids back, and that's the reality.
If you tell yourself, if you let yourself believe that's the reality, I mean, you have to, or... It's hard, because if you accept that, it's like you're giving up on your children. You're saying, you know...
But on the other hand, if you don't accept it, you're never going to be able to fight these bastards properly, but only by realizing that it's hopeless. All the cards are stacked against you, and no matter what you do, you're fucked. You can't beat them at their own game. It's like being an alcoholic. Once you can actually admit you're an alcoholic regardless, only then can you stand back and see a solution to stop being an alcoholic. And with these people, like, we've been only fighting for 2 years, but I mean, the one thing that I realized more than anything is that I can't beat them at their game. I can't afford to beat them at their game, and no matter what we do, our lives are never going to be the same. Our children are never going to be the same. And everyone I've talked to, they've been beaten down into submission. And these people don't know what to do, because the only thing they do cling on to is some sort of false hope that maybe, possibly, and we need more than that. The only way we're going to beat these people, and calling them people is being extremely nice, the only way we're going to beat them is by looking at it, admitting to ourselves, this is hopeless. We may go through the motion just to slow them down in court, but we need to do something else if we're ever going to beat them. And that's it. Bottom line. Because they are destroying people. That's part of what they do. They totally devastate people, and they want you devastated, because most people cannot stand up. They don't have the light or the strength within them to stand up to the negative demonic essence that just kills the spirit within people.
And part of the problem is that people think...
It happened with the natives. It happens with
it's bullying.
White people. It happens bullying with everyone.
You know, you've got the schoolyard bully. He's the biggest person in the schoolyard, and everybody agrees with the bully, because they don't want to be bullied and they don't want to be beat up. That's a thing that's going on in the school systems right across Canada. It's even hitting the videos now, where people are bullying over emails and bullying over text messaging and stuff like that. There was a program on it just recently, and teachers, you know, being tracked down by bullies, you know, like gangs of kids and things like that are bullying teachers. Okay, now this is real serious stuff, but that's exactly what our government is. One big bully. And when they're in the courtroom, they're in their own schoolyard, right? And that's exactly what you're trying to, the point you're trying to bring up, is that we're never going to be able to beat the bully in the schoolyard, right? But we take it outside.
We can't beat them at their game, because they're just too bigger. They're way too bigger, and we'll never win in a fair fight.